Hello and welcome everybody. We are back here, Zorak 47. We're back with Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. We're going to pick up exactly where we left off in the last one. We just got out of the Well of Souls at Alistar, and we are going to continue on our journey trying to find what's his face? Agarth, I believe it is. We're gonna see. Ooh, a level up. That is perfect timing right there. Start the episode with a level up. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, so here we have all of our skills. It's a relatively simple tree. You've got your basic up here, and then your advanced. Once you fill all of your points in the basic and you hit level 8, you can begin to put points in advanced. Once you fill these three and hit level 16, you can begin putting points in the master category. So we've got your alchemy, blacksmithing, detect hidden, dispelling, lockpicking, mercantile, persuasion, sagecraft, and stealth. All fairly basic, simple skills. Your stealth is your stealth. I really don't know how to make it more simpler than that. They make it the hard fire higher you go in the tree. Everyone with the rune gives you a special ability. The blank ones are just a passive bonus, but make it harder for you to be detected by enemies when you're stealth. One of them, I believe, allows you to run faster while in stealth. You have your sagecraft, which allows you to create gems and fuse them into equipment. There's some equipment you will find that has gem sockets, and these gems you can infuse them into the socket to give bonuses to the armor or the weapon, or change its behavior, add fire, whatever it may be. Sagecraft allows you to do that. Persuasion is just that, persuasion. In the last episode, I pointed out a persuasion test we had, referencing old school sheet D&D, old school gaming, which personally I'm a fan of. I love it. But this is persuasion. As you go up in this, it allows you to have better chances of succeeding on those persuasion skills. Also, this first one is amazing. Bribe costs for crime are decreased by 20%. Yes, there's crime. You can break into places, you can rob people, you can murder people, and if they catch you, you do not pay your fees, whatever, you will go to jail. Similar to Skyrim. However, you can also break out of jail and flee the town, whatever it is. Again, similar to Skyrim. Your mercantile is basically your merchant ability. Better prices for selling and buying. And some of these, you recover 15% of an item's gold value when you destroy it. You will destroy items to get the materials in order to craft new items, things like that. Still useful, especially for the buy and sell prices alone. Lockpicking is, again, roguelike, just like stealth. The lockpicking allows you to pick locks. That's pretty much about as easy as that gets. Decreases difficulty. You always succeed when forcing very easy locks. That is a nice one. However, by the time you get there, you may not come across very easy locks that often. So it's a good one to get a jump on if you want to take it. Personally, I never really have an issue with all of it. Dispelling allows you to dispel protective magical wards without suffering harm. Now, protective magical wards are essentially magical traps. You will see them glowing on the ground or on top of a container or whatnot, and if you open it without dispelling, the trap goes off. Usually it's a big explosion. It'll scare the crap out of you. I mean, at least it does me. And you'll take a very large amount of damage. Magical wards are very unpleasant. This allows you to dispel them without suffering harm, which is wonderful. It's basically magical lockpicking, kind of. You can basically disarm magical traps and stay alive, which is very, very wonderful. Especially with this milestone, you can fail to dispel a ward once before it will explode, giving you basically two chances to dispel one ward. Wonderful. Detect Hidden allows you to detect hidden things, whether it be this first one here, enemies and other characters are displayed on the minimap. Immensely wonderful having enemies appear on the map. You know exactly what's going to be around that corner before you go around it. It's amazing. As you go down this, it gets more and more detailed. The second one, hidden treasures are displayed on the map and are revealed if you go near them. Also wonderful. The map is totally covered with hidden items for you to discover. This makes it so much easier to find and discover them. You got your Detect Hidden here, which your next tier in Detect Hidden, enemies facing is displayed on the minimap. This is wonderful. It puts out a little cone from the enemies to show you their line of sight, which way they're looking, and how far they can see. Now this, if you pair this right with stealth, there's a possibility that it's not unheard of. You can go through a dungeon maneuvering around enemies and not fight. Now, is it difficult? Extremely. Am I going to do it? Not even a little bit. I'm making a warrior. I want to beat the crap out of some stuff, alright? But it's still an awesome perk to be able to see which way your enemy is facing, because occasionally I may still try to sneak up on someone and get that stealth kill. This following one here is also awesome. You can disarm traps. This is just standard, non-magical ward, just regular traps. You can see them, you can disarm them, and it's just a great perk to have. You got your Blacksmithing, which is fairly straightforward. You can get materials and use them to create your own weapons, your own armor. Pretty much all the stuff you need, you can make it yourself. It's a great perk, a nice, that's why I chose the Almain, is this 2-point head start in Blacksmithing. As you can see, it's you can harvest components from some enemies in the world. I believe those are, I actually really don't know which ones you harvest from, but the second one, you can use 3 components when crafting equipment. Now that is important because crafting, without this, you can use 2 components. That limits what you're able to make, as well as how strong it can be. The more components you can put into something, the more complicated it becomes, and the more powerful it becomes as a result. You're obviously not going to make a masterwork longsword with 2 pieces of equipment. This one here, you can salvage infrequent equipment. That's nice. The random, very low level infrequent stuff you get, while this one's higher, the infrequent stuff you get, you can salvage it, and that would be to destroy it for its components in order to craft something else. And then this one here, the 4th tier in Blacksmithing, you can use 4 components. So again, ups the level of what you're able to craft and its power. And then last, we have Alchemy. Alchemy is just that. It's alchemy. It's taking herbs or whatever materials, grinding it down, and creating a potion. It's your basic alchemy here, not like, you know, it's just your basic alchemy. Not like your full metal alchemist alchemy where you're transmuting stuff, but more of just making potions out of whatever the hell you happen to find. Some berries and a twig? Sure, why not? Now this. So, all that said, I'm going to take the Detect Hidden here because having the enemies and other characters displayed on the minimap is extraordinarily useful, and without that, things are going to wander up on me. So, after you confirm that, we have our skill trees. Now, the skill trees, you only have 3 skill trees, which, not that bad, right? You have one for your warrior, your mage, and your rogue. Might, sorcery, finesse, respectively. And every level, I believe you get 3 points to put into whatever skill tree you want. Your sorcery, your finesse, might. Being as I'm making a warrior, most, if not all, of my points are going to be going into might to make the strongest warrior I can. Now, this is also where you unlock your abilities and your spells for mages. If you want a mage, just great, right in here, whatever skills you want. For might, it's the same for rogue. Now, they're all different and they're class specific. So the might for the warrior has longsword mastery, great sword mastery, and hammer mastery. Whereas you can see the sorcerer has staff mastery, scepter mastery, and chakram mastery. And of course, the rogue has longbow mastery, dagger mastery, and feyblade mastery. Now, as I'm a warrior, I'm mostly going to be using longswords and greatswords. I'm not a huge fan of the hammer. It just seems too big for me. That's Thor's thing, not mine. I'm going to go with a big-ass greatsword once I find one. Now, over here we've got Brutal Weaponry 1, which there are 3 levels. Most of these have multiple levels in them. Once we unlock all 3 levels and have over 5 points in the might tree. Actually, nope, we only need 1 level of Brutal Weaponry 1, and then 5 points in the might ability tree, and we can unlock Brutal Weaponry 2. But Brutal Weaponry 1, I'm going to take this first one, because it unlocks charge attacks for the longsword, greatsword, and hammer. The first level for longsword is the Comet Strike. Hold and release for a dash and slash into your foes. For the greatsword, it's Whirlwind. Hold and release to unleash a flurry of attacks. It's beautiful. You'll see it at some point as soon as I find a greatsword. For the hammer, it's the Minotaur Rush, which is pretty brutal. The hammer attacks are brutal, and they're pretty cool. I'm just personally not a huge fan, as I said. And so I'm going to take the Brutal Weaponry 1. And I'm going to come over here. We've got our Skillful Defense. Your masterful use of shields greatly increases your damage resistance while blocking. At the highest level, you unlock a special Shield Bash. That Shield Bash is cool, however right now I'm not going to focus on putting all my points into this because it says at the highest level, and that would be 5. And I only have 2 more points available, so I'm not going to focus on that right now. Maybe over time I'll build up to that 5, get that bash. It's a lot of fun. It knocks enemies back. But with this, it increases your damage resistance while blocking. If you take a very large amount of damage with your shield up, you'll still take a little bit of damage to your health. This helps to negate that and gives a higher ceiling for the damage you can take in your shield. Now this Harpoon, I'm going to take Harpoon because what it does is it snags an enemy and pulls it back to you, unless it's a larger, heavier enemy, in which case it'll pull you to them. Either way, for being a warrior and not having a ranged attack per se, this is wonderful to help close that gap immediately. So I'm going to take 1 level of Harpoon. And I'll show you that to you guys later. It's awesome. I'm going to use it a lot. It's very useful. I'm going to come back over here to Longsword Mastery, and I'm going to take a 2nd level in Longsword Mastery. Because as what I have right now, and what I'll probably be using for a little while, is a longsword. Hopefully it won't always be rusty, but still a longsword. You can see the current level is plus 4 physical damage and plus 5% damage altogether. The physical damage differs from the general damage. Physical damage is its own type of damage. Like you have shock damage, fire damage, and physical damage. There are others, but those are just the ones I know off the top of my head. And so this gives an increase to physical damage, and then just general damage with the longsword. The next level is what I'm going to be taking, plus 5 physical damage and 10% damage with longswords. That 10% is nice, doubles that 5. I'm going to go ahead and take that. And then we can come down here, the current level is now the 5 and 10, and the next level is 6 and 15. Now, if I remember right, this keeps going like that up to the total of, I want to say 30% weapon damage with longswords, which is a nice bonus. But that's all the points we have here, so I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. And that is the end of a level up. So every time we level up, that we're going to have to go through that again. It's going to go faster every time, because I won't have to explain everything every single time. At least I really hope not. I'm sorry that took so long, but I hope you guys got a good understanding of these skills and what they do, as well as the leveling up process and the ability tree. So, now that we're back into things, I'm going to go around and I'm going to break a bunch of stuff and try to get some gold.
It was only a matter of time.
Because that is what heroes do. They break stuff for gold. And this here is a star thistle. Things like this are hiding all around the world. They respawn after a certain point. But that would be what you use for alchemy right there. It's an ingredient for potions and the like.
I told them we needed more guards.
Claude!
I saw you fighting there. We could have used more of you. Did they really have a troll?
Giant rock thing? Yeah.
I don't know how the Twatha found us, but if they had a troll, it couldn't have been an accident. Fate was kind to collapse that doorway behind you, or they would have chased us into the glade.
Well of Souls.
The well was incredible, but it took armloads of Prismere crystals to keep the thing active. That's why we built it so close to the Stone Candle mines. They even put in a few tunnels to deliver the crystals directly into the well. I told them it wasn't safe. Looks like I was right. Again.
Twatha.
I never did trust Fae to begin with. Those Twatha are the worst sort. They waged some sort of holy war against humans and Alpha for years now. But the front's all the way out east. What are they doing out here? How did they know about this place?
Tell me about the trolls.
They're technically a type of wild Fae. Related to the Fae of the summer and winter courts, actually. Dangerous enough in the wild. The Twatha also use them in their army.
What about Hughes?
Hughes ran off, you say? I wouldn't worry too much. The old man's tougher than he looks, and he's always got a plan.
What do you know about the Fateweaver?
Fateweavers? Ah, charlatans. Hughes swears by them. But I'll be damned if I trust my future to some cards.
Alistar.
We started building here when they found Prismere in the mines nearby. Never thought we'd see Twatha this far out west, though.
Alright, thank you, Claude, for the
Look
information.
out there.
Now, as you can see on the mini-map in the top right, we have little white dots for characters, a little green dot over here for this shrine, and little red dots for enemies. Trying to make our route. Why not? I'll take it. And over here we have a bear. Now, I'm going to show you the harpoon. A bear's big enough, it'll probably pull me to it. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Jesus. Damn.
You. I remember you. You're the one? How did you come back? How did you find me here?
Did you know about the attack?
No, I had no idea anything like that would happen. The Well of Souls is bigger than one gnome's pet project. My employer pays for information about its progress. I just send the reports to make some money on the side. I never wanted anyone to get hurt.
Who do you report to?
I promise you, if I knew who it was, I'd tell you. Sharing research is one thing, but academic sabotage is a crime.
Just get out of here. Now.
Thank you, thank you. Here, take this. It's the pay for my last report. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going back home to Odessa.
Oh, 104 gold. That's quite prosperous. Enjoy that greatly. Ooh, more plants. No reagents found. That's one thing with harvesting plants. Most of the time, until you take perks in, I believe it's alchemy, you will not find a lot of reagents or supplies. The more points you take in it, it will allow you to find more while scavenging like this. And as you get higher, you can find like 2 or 3 at a time instead of just 1 or nothing. Ooh, wolves. I'll take on some wolves. Nice thing wolves are predictable. They always howl like that before they attack. Finding a group of them is a challenge. Because of that, if you dodge too early, you change course and come at you. You have to dodge right at the jump. Or you can just harpoon their ass and bring them to you. Woohoo! Damn. Wolf loot. Crude iron chassis. I honestly don't know what that is. Legs. They're leg stuff. Ooh. I'm gonna take plate. Yeah. Down there on the minimap, you see that symbol. That is a dungeon. We're not going to be going down there right now. We might cover that later. We'll come back. But as for right now, that's not really our concern. This must be the Fateweaver.
You've come from the tower, haven't you? Name's Agarth. Maybe you can help an old Fateweaver, eh?
What's a Fateweaver?
Fateweavers look at the great tapestry of fate. The threads will tell us how a life will unfold. But knowing the future and being able to change it are two very different things.
Hughes sent me to find you.
Did he? Poor old Fomerus Hughes. He respected the way the world works. What a shame. He's probably dead by now.
What makes you think he's dead?
The cards told me that the Well of Souls would work, but Hughes' success would come on the day of his death. He took it pretty well, honestly. Although we did a lot of drinking after that.
See, there's another persuasion test. 95%. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Should be alright. Can you give me some help?
I suppose I could spare a
Persuasion
little
succeeded.
help in memory of Hughes, or in celebration of his success. Whichever.
The cards?
You really don't know much, do you? A Fateweaver taps into the threads of fate and channels that energy through a focus. My order prefers cards. The cards are unique to each Fateweaver, since we all see the weave differently.
I just woke up in the tower.
You're the one. Then that means it all makes sense now. The cards this morning. I drew the Gravedigger, the Running Man, and the Beast. Prepare yourself. They're coming.
The Tuatha.
Another mortal for the fire. You're gonna burn.
Ooh, reckoning mode. This just allows you to move faster, to deplete everybody's health. It's more timed in actual combat as opposed to this tutorial type lesson here. But once they get out of health, they kneel and they move on. Or originally, you can do this to any one of them, but once you finish them, you have a button mash to increase the total XP. And the one you kill then kills all already defeated enemies. So using that right gives you the ability to take out 5 to maybe 10 enemies depending on what they are.
How? What are you? The threads of fate. I've seen them before, but I've never seen anyone manipulate them like that. You just changed how the world was supposed to work. How did you do that?
I don't know. I just did.
You just... Fate is the will of the gods. No mortal should be able to change it. How is that even possible? Come here. I'm going to do a reading. You might be able to change the threads, but fate will still have a plan for you. I promise not to tell you if I see your death.
Do you always see death?
It's a gift. Some people paint landscapes, other people write poetry. I peer into the weave of fate's tapestry and see people's deaths.
Is this why Hughes sent me?
That would be my guess. He was an academic, but he had a proper respect for fate's plan, unlike most gnomes.
Fine. Show me my fate.
You're nervous. Relax. This is what Fateweavers do. I'll be seeing your place in the pattern of destiny. Who you are, what you've done, where your path takes you. Or, at least, I should be. You're real, right? I swear I haven't had that much...
You can't see my fate?
Fate's weave is always hard to see. It's in motion, hard to make out, but undeniably there. Yours is just... missing. This doesn't make sense. All mortal creatures have a place in the pattern. You should have one too, dead or not. If this is true, and I'm not saying I believe it, then your path is yours to determine.
Alright, so here is the last thing that goes with the skills and the abilities, the destinies here. Right now we have the Faithless one, tier 0. How exciting. It requires absolutely nothing. We are a blank slate to do whatever the hell we want. Alright, so these are tied to the ability trees. As you can see down here with Might, Finesse, and Sorcery. Down lower they overlap, but we'll get into that in a minute. These are all tied to one of the ability trees. As I just said, the Sorcery, we've got the Acolyte, the Brawler for Might, and the Rogue for Finesse. Go figure. I'm going to click through all of these just to get that little stars gone. But we're going to go with the Brawler, because we're going for Might and Warrior. Now down here in the Might tree, we've got the Fighter, Soldier, Warrior, Conqueror, and Warlord. At the respective 11 Might, 28 Might, 49, 76, and 109 points in the Might tree. Now, this takes a very long time, because remember, you only get 3 points every level. So to get to 109 is basically, that's end game status. So, now with that, there's one tree for each one. However, they do overlap down here. Finesse and Sorcery, Might and Sorcery, Might and Finesse, Might, Finesse, and Sorcery. These are for whatever playstyle you want. You can do a Warrior Mage, Might and Sorcery, a Rogue Mage, Finesse and Sorcery, or a Warrior Rogue, Might, Finesse. Now this one here on the bottom, with all three, is personally, I consider to be the hardest one to achieve and to play until you hit end game. That's just because they each have a minimum requirement. As this one requires 1 in Finesse, 1 in Might, 1 in Sorcery. These down here require 2 in each category, 4, 10, 17, 26, 37. Now, with that said, it's hard to divvy these up to unlock them each time without going further into one tree than another and slipping into one of these other categories. Now, just because you slip into another one, if you've unlocked one of these, you can stay it and you can change these at any point. However, this personally to me is the hardest playstyle, keeping it perfectly balanced along all of them. That said, these also have some of the best buffs, I could say, out of anything else. I mean, once you get up even to the second tier here, it's +1 to all skills. That alone is incredible. Every skill we went over, you get +1 in all of that. And then you go down a little further, you get a +2 in all skills. Tier 6 is +3 in all skills, plus Mastery of Arms, which unlocks all weapon mastery abilities. That, to me, is insanely powerful. You have mastered every weapon in the game. That is insanely strong. Now, with that said, I'm going to go back up here, make sure we've got our brawler selected for our warrior, 15% melee attack damage, and 20% block efficiency. It's perfect for what we have right now. Go ahead and confirm that. What does this mean?
It could mean nothing. Or it could mean everything. The world is changing. You might be a sign of that. Or maybe the cause. I've never had a reason to doubt my own readings. But we should consult with Arden. He's not a friend, but he's got a good eye for the tapestry. I'll meet you at his home to the east. I'm going to see if I can be of any help to the wounded at the tower.
What do you know about the Tuatha?
The Tuatha aren't like any Fae I've ever known. They're cruel, bloodthirsty, and savage. Why, they're practically human.
Hey, easy with that human bashing, boy. What do you know about Hughes?
Hughes was always an odd one. Curious and determined as any of his kind, sure. He never shut up about his work. But he always knew what was important. He didn't worry about dying as long as he knew he'd get the well working.
What about the Fateweavers?
The Fateweavers were once a great, unified order of sages from all the mortal races. We foretold the destinies of kings and gods. But that power takes a toll. Nobody likes bad news. And all the news in the world is getting worse. The order splintered long ago. Now the old traditions are all but lost. And all I foretell is the fate of my beer. And I see it being empty soon.
Gotta love a drunkard. What about fate?
We are all threads in the tapestry of fate. Measured, woven, and cut according to a great plan. Fateweavers undertake the task of reading those threads. Our title always was a bitter lie, since we have no control over how that tapestry is woven. But you do. And when a Fateweaver looks at your place in the weave, we see only the shapes of what you may choose to become.
Arden.
You can find Arden's little cottage in the middle of Yulven. Had to move there when he got run out of town. He's a damned good Fateweaver, but that doesn't make you very popular. Especially not in dark days like these.
Agarth.
Once I was Agarth the Unyielding, the Blade of Avgrum. I wrestled the Colossus Priestess and declined knighthood by the High King of the Fae. I was a hero of men, but that wasn't enough for me. I joined the Fateweavers, hoping to find a way to conquer destiny itself. Turns out fate is the one thing I couldn't fight.
What's wrong with my fate?
That's just it. I don't know if you've got one, but that's why we're going to see Arden. He lives in a little hut to the east in Yulven. I'll meet you there.
Alright, let's get on
What
with
does
it.
this all mean?
Loot some Tuatha. Essence of Fate. Neat. What about this one over here? Iron Mitt. That sounds not unequivocable. Lovely. Alright, so that's pretty much all we've got time for this time. Sorry we didn't make it too far story-wise. All of those skills, abilities, and fates kept popping up, getting in the way of things. The last thing I do want to take a look at here real quick is the map. You can see this is the distance we've covered so far. Very small. There should be a town, I want to say somewhere over here. Or that could be it up here. I think that's Arden. Nope. So yeah, somewhere down here is a town. However, the point I want to make is the world map. We started here. We've moved here. There's the towns over here. Yolvan is all the way over here. We have to pass through all of this territory to get there. However, I want to point out just the sheer size of this map. Like, this is a very large, extensive map. It's, like, honestly, to play through all of this is going to take several hours. One of the DLCs, Teeth of Narrows. The other DLCs up here, I don't remember the name of it. Here's the other one. New maps, new locations, new weapons, new enemies, all that. And we haven't even started yet. But it is a huge map, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah. I will see you guys next time. We'll continue our way. We'll hopefully get to that town and start doing some classic RPG quests to help people out. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.